Now we get to create some logic. All of our logic is going to be organized under the logic blocks folder. Any blocks that you create under power up are only going to be run once at startup. Any blocks that you create in the main block are going to be run over and over and over again. These will always run in sequence as long as the HMC is in run mode. Let's place a normally closed contact on the first rung, and it will pop up a default operand selection window. You can again select the ellipses button to bring up the select tag window. This select tag window remembers any filters that you set before, and so it's showing nothing because this is a coil, and so it's looking for a bit address, but I've got it set to only show registers. We're going to select the disable scaling bit, click OK, and OK again. What this is going to do is basically turn this rung on and off. If disable scaling ever turns on, this rung will turn off. Because this is normally closed, it's going to execute when this bit is off. Because our engineering values represent voltages from 0 to 5 volts, we will need them to be floating point numbers. So before scaling, the raw input needs to be moved into the data register and then converted to a floating point format. To move the input value into a data register, we're going to use the move dword instruction. Go to data transfer and move dword. And then we're going to click to the right of the disable scaling normally closed contact. Operand A is what we're going to move into operand B. And we'll click on the select tag box. And we're going to use channel 0 from slot 1, as that's where we're going to install our I/O module. Here's all the slot 1 tags. We want slot 1 channel 0 analog input register. And then we're going to move it into raw input int. And click OK. Alright, and then next up we're going to create a branch. So we're going to click a vertical link and place it there. So basically this disable scaling, it's going to do a few different functions. We're going to end up actually having 3 lines on this rung. And so we are moving the raw data into a local register. And now we're going to convert this raw input int into a floating point number. So we're going to go for conversion, integer to float, and click to the right of the branch. Operand A is the input, so we're going to grab raw input int. And operand B is going to be raw input float. Click OK. And then we're going to add another vertical link to make our last branch. And this is where we're going to place our scale instruction. Scale is located under Functions, Scale. For the scale instruction, the instruction itself can be assigned a type, and the default type is integer. If you enter any tags into the default operand selection before changing the type of the instruction, it's going to assume that they are 1 word length, so 2 bytes in length, and all of our tags are actually 4 bytes in length. So we're going to go ahead and just accept these default operand selections and then change the addresses in the instruction properties menu over here. So let's talk a little bit more about the scale instruction. If we go to Help and Contents, and go look at the information for the scale instruction. Instructions, functions, scale. This little article here describes how the scale function will work. You can give it a number of points, and it will create a function of scaling between those different points. This example here, it's been given 4 points, and it will create a linear scale in between each point based on an input. Our scale is only going to have 2 points. It's got our input maximum and minimum and our output maximum and minimum. So 1 point will be represented by the raw low and engineering low. X is going to be our input scale and Y is going to be our output scale. The first point will be raw low and then engineering low for the y-axis. And then the second point will be the raw high and the engineering high. So basically, our scale would be, point 1 would be at 0, 0, and point 2 would be at 65,535, and then 5 would be our Y point. And that's, so it'd just be a fairly low angle slope. The number of points is specified by the variable n. We need to change the n, so data size is n. We're going to change that to 2. And then we are going to change the type to float. And then we will assign our operands. Operand A is going to be raw int float, because that's our input. Operand C is the output, so that's going to actually be the scaled input. And operand B is the points, basically. When we created our tags for the input low to high and output low to high, we created them in consecutive registers in the correct order to be processed by this function. Operand B is going to be the beginning of that. So raw low, let's sort these. The length of operand B is determined by the n number, or the number of points. Operand B looks at n times 2, so it's going to look at 4 registers. And so it's going to look at raw low, raw high, engineering low, and engineering high. So we select raw low as the beginning of that. And that's our rung of logic that will scale our input. Next, we are going to add logic that will create high and low limits to test the scaled input and see if it's within a range. We're going to do this in a subroutine just to demonstrate how subroutines work. So let's go ahead and create a subroutine. If you click on the subroutine folder in the project information window and click New Logic Block, it creates a logic block. And it's going to have 2 lines. One will check the low limit and one will check the high limit. We're going to place a normally open contact. And we're actually going to select a system tag called always on. This bit is set on by the processor and you don't have to worry about it. It should always be on. And that just means that this line will always execute. We're putting this in because you need an input to any of the functions. And so now we're going to place a greater than instruction. So compare, greater than, click to the left, and you're good. We're going to click OK to the default operands so that we can set the type to float. Again, you got to make sure that it's looking for tags of the right length before you can assign inputs. We are going to check if scaled input is greater than our high limit. And then we're going to turn on an output. We're going to click on the output button here and place it to the right. And we're going to directly turn on an output in this subroutine. So we're going to go over here. We're going to choose output. The address is going to be slot 01 OP output coil 2. Click OK. And this is the logic that we'll test to see if that input is over the high limit, and if it is, it's going to turn on an output. And now we're going to actually make a copy of this rung because the next piece of logic is very similar. So copy all instructions rung, and then we're going to paste. And we've made a copy. So we're just going to delete this greater than and compare less than. And again, we're going to choose scaled input because we are checking to see if scaled input is lower than the low limit. And OK. And if the scaled input is below the low limit, we're going to turn on just the next output. So we're going to turn on output 3. Because this is a subroutine, we need to end the subroutine so that it can know to go back to the main block of logic that's going to call it. So we're going to put a program control subroutine return. We just stick that on rung 3, and that's the return instruction, and basically once it's looked through these, it will return back to the main calling block. And so let's go back into block 1, and now we need to actually call this block that we've created. Alright, so on rung 2 we're going to place a normally open instruction. This is what's going to turn on and off this subroutine, so we're going to select enable limits as the tag. This is going to be a bit that we're going to be modifying from the screen to turn on and off this subroutine logic that we just created. And to call that, we're going to place a program control subroutine call. And this subroutine call is calling block 2. If we had more blocks, you could select a different one, but it's just going to call block 2. Alright, this completes the logic for this project. It's very simple. Let's go ahead and save. And also let's compile just to make sure that we don't have any issues. Logic is sound, we got a compilation successful. One really easy way to just show what it would look like if it wasn't was let's delete this subroutine return. So we've deleted that, and then if I try and compile again, subroutine instruction not found for ladder block 2, hence cannot compile ladder block. Let's just delete this, delete rung, and let's try putting in that subroutine return again. Alright. Compile. Compilation successful.